Before I start, if you live alone and you hear 3 knocks on your door at exactly 3 a.m, don't answer. Not because of what's outside, because of what might already be inside, waiting to see if you will. Welcome back. Tonight's story was sent to me by someone who asked me not to use her name. I've changed some details, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. So here it is. Maren had lived in the Brook Hollow building for 6 years. Apartment 4B. Quiet street, decent rent, the kind of place you forget to feel grateful for until something reminds you why you chose it. The building was old, 1920s brick, the kind with a wrought iron elevator gate and radiators that clanked like they were arguing with each other. She knew every creak of it, every neighbour's schedule. She could tell you which floor someone lived on just by the sound of their footsteps overhead. The reminder came in October. The weak apartment 4C, the unit next to hers, got a new tenant. She never saw him move in. No moving truck, no boxes in the hallway. Just one Tuesday, a folded note taped to her door. It read, "Hope we can be good neighbours. Signed, D." She didn't think much of it. People do things differently. Some folks hire movers who work at night. Some people just keep to themselves. But then the knocking started. Not aggressive, not loud. 3 soft knocks, always on her wall. The shared wall between 4B and 4C, always around 11 p.m. She'd knock back, thinking it was some kind of joke, a good night between neighbours. He never explained it. She never asked. It became a routine, almost comforting in a strange way. She started looking forward to it, the way you look forward to a street lamp clicking on at dusk. She mentioned it once to her friend Priya, who lived 2 floors down. Priya laughed and said it sounded sweet. She said it sounded like Maren had a pen pal who talked in Morse code. Maren laughed too. She didn't think about it again for weeks, until the night the knocks came from the wrong wall. It was a Thursday. Maren was in the kitchen, and the 3 knocks came, but not from the bedroom wall shared with 4C. They came from the wall behind her refrigerator, the wall that faced the building's utility stairwell, the wall that, as far as she knew, backed onto nothing but concrete and pipes. She stood there a long time, waiting for it to happen again. It didn't. She told herself it was pipes settling, an old building groaning the way old buildings do. The next morning, she asked the building super, an older man named Felix, who'd worked there for 20 years, whether anything was back there. He got quiet in a way she didn't like. "That's not livable space," he said. "Sealed off since before I started. Access panels bolted from our side. Then why did I hear knocking?" He didn't answer that. He just said, "If it happens again, don't knock back." She didn't sleep well after that. For a few days, everything was normal. Almost too normal. She caught herself listening for the sound before it came. The way you brace for a step you know is missing on a staircase. Then, 2 nights later, at 11 p.m. sharp, the knocks came again. 3 from the wall behind the fridge. And then, 10 seconds later, 3 more from the bedroom wall, the wall shared with 4C. Like something was going back and forth between the 2, checking which side she'd answer. The next day, Maren did what she probably should have done from the start. She looked up the building's old records at the local archive, the kind of dusty municipal office that still keeps things on microfilm. The Brook Hollow wasn't always apartments. Before 1962, it had been something else, a rooming house, and before that, briefly, a small private clinic. The records were incomplete, the way old records always are, but one line stayed with her. In 1958, the clinic had reported what the file called one unaccounted departure. No name, no explanation, just a date, a stamp, and nothing after it. She didn't know what to do with that information. It didn't prove anything. Old buildings collect strange footnotes the way old coats collect other people's lost buttons. But she couldn't stop thinking about the wall behind her fridge and what unaccounted might really mean. She called Felix again. He came up within minutes, faster than she expected for a call at midnight, which told her something about how seriously he took it. He brought a key, not for her apartment, for 4C. Nobody's supposed to be renting that unit, he said, quiet, almost apologetic. It's been vacant since spring. Owner pulled it off the market. Wouldn't say why. They knocked. No answer. Felix used the key. The apartment was empty. Not recently moved out empty. Dust on the floor, nobody's lived here in months empty. No furniture, no sign of the folded note, the man who signed it D. Any of it, except one thing. On the shared wall, at exactly the height of a person's knuckles, there were 3 small dents. Not painted over, not new. Like something or someone had been knocking from this side for a very long time, long before Maren ever moved in. Felix wouldn't go near the wall behind the fridge. He told her, flatly, that the access panel back there had been bolted since before the building had residents, since it was converted from something else. He wouldn't say what it used to be, but he did say one more thing, almost to himself, on his way out. There's a reason nobody stays in 4C long. Landlord doesn't advertise it. People just leave, fast. Maren asked how many people. He didn't answer that either. Some questions she was starting to understand only get asked once. That night, she didn't sleep in her bedroom. She stayed in the living room with the lights on, telling herself it was just for one night, just until she figured out what to do next. At 11 p.m, the knocks came from the bedroom wall. 3, steady, patient. At 11:03, 3 more came from behind the fridge. And at 11:07, a full 7 minutes later than either of the others had ever waited, 3 knocks came from her own front door. She didn't move. She sat very still, the way you do when you're a child, and you've convinced yourself that not moving means not being seen. The knocks didn't repeat, but under the door, in the thin gap where the hallway light usually leaked through, the light went out. Not flickered, not dimmed, simply gone, like something was standing directly in front of it, close enough to block it completely. It stayed that way for almost a minute. Then the light came back, like nothing had happened at all. Maren moved out 2 weeks later. She didn't wait for the lease to end. She paid the penalty and left the furniture behind rather than spend one more night packing boxes after dark. She told the person who eventually told me this story one more detail, the kind you only remember afterward, once your body lets you feel it again. The last night she stayed there, packing boxes in daylight hours only, she found something behind the refrigerator when the movers pulled it away from the wall. Scratched into the baseboard, low, almost hidden, 3 small marks. Not knocks this time, marks like something had been counted, or was counting. She never went back to the Brook Hollow, not even to collect her mail. Priya told her months later that 4C was rented again, quickly, quietly, to someone new. Priya said she'd heard the new tenant introduce himself in the hallway. He went by D. If you moved out of somewhere and never told anyone the real reason why, I want to hear it. Drop it in the comments. I read everyone, and some of them become the next story. See you in the next one.